What if I told you that right now, inside your body, there are microscopic clusters of abnormal cells, and the only thing standing between you and a life-threatening tumor is whether or not those cells can find a blood supply? That's not a scare tactic. That's biology. And once you understand it, you'll never look at the food on your plate the same way again. Because here's what the research actually shows. And this is something most doctors never sit down and explain to their patients. The foods you eat every single day are either feeding disease or starving it. There is no neutral. Every meal is a vote. And today, I'm going to show you exactly which foods cast the right vote every single time. Stay with me through this entire video because by the end, you're going to have a list of specific, delicious, easy to find foods that activate your body's 5 core defense systems. The same systems that protect your brain, repair your DNA, strengthen your immune army, and keep cancer from ever getting the foothold it needs to grow. This is not a diet. This is not deprivation. This is science, and it tastes incredible. You understanding angiogenesis, your body's blood vessel switch. Let's start with something called angiogenesis. It's a word most people have never heard, but understanding it might be one of the most important things you ever do for your long-term health. Angiogenesis simply means the growth of new blood vessels. And in healthy circumstances, this is a beautiful, life-sustaining process. When you get a cut, your body grows new blood vessels to heal the wound. When a baby develops in the womb, angiogenesis builds the entire vascular system from scratch. Your body knows when to turn this process on, and crucially, it knows when to turn it off. But here's where things get dangerous. Cancer hijacks that switch. Here's a fact that will stop you cold. A tumor that has no blood vessels cannot grow larger than the tip of a ballpoint pen. Think about that. One of the most feared diseases in human history is stopped in its tracks, permanently frozen at microscopic size, as long as it cannot access a blood supply. No oxygen, no nutrients, no growth. It just sits there, contained, powerless. But the moment a cancer cell figures out how to recruit blood vessels, the moment it hijacks the angiogenesis switch and starts pulling nutrients from your circulatory system, everything changes. A cancer the size of that tiny ballpoint pen tip can expand 16,000 times in just 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That's not slow, creeping growth. That's an explosion. This is why the most exciting frontier in cancer medicine over the last several decades has been developing drugs that cut off a tumor's blood supply, essentially starving the cancer before it can grow. And today, anti-angiogenic therapy is one of the cornerstones of modern cancer treatment, but here is the part that should make your jaw drop. When researchers began testing foods using the exact same laboratory methods they used to evaluate these cancer drugs, the same rigorous scientific test systems, they discovered something almost unbelievable. More than 100 commonly available foods were found to have significant anti-angiogenic properties, meaning they naturally, without any pharmaceutical intervention, help cut off the blood supply that feeds tumors. 100 foods. Foods you can buy at any grocery store, foods you might already be eating without knowing they're working like medicine inside your body. Lang's TA, resveratrol, and soy, the anti-angiogenic powerhouse. Let's talk about some of the most powerful of these foods because the details here are genuinely remarkable. Green tea, specifically the polyphenols in green tea, and one in particular called EGCG or epigallocatechin gallate. In laboratory testing using the exact systems designed to evaluate anti-cancer drugs, green tea polyphenols showed a stunning ability to stop the growth of blood vessels that were attempting to feed tumor tissue. The researchers running these experiments, scientists trained to get excited about pharmaceutical breakthroughs, were shocked by how effective a simple cup of tea could be. In fact, if they hadn't been told they were looking at a natural compound, they would have assumed it came from a major drug company. That's how powerful the effect was. This matters for your daily routine. Drinking green tea, real green tea, not the artificially flavored varieties, is one of the simplest, cheapest, most accessible things you can do to support your body's natural defenses against uncontrolled blood vessel growth. Next, let's talk about red wine, specifically resveratrol, the polyphenol found in red grape skins. Resveratrol has been studied extensively, and its anti-angiogenic properties are well documented. Now, I'm not suggesting you open a bottle of wine as a health prescription, but understanding that resveratrol, which is also found in red grapes, grape juice, and certain berries, functions as a powerful inhibitor of the blood vessels that feed tumors is significant information. If you enjoy a modest glass of red wine, the science actually supports that there is real biological activity happening that works in your favor. Now, let me address something that has been circulating in wellness magazines and online health communities that genuinely concerns me as a physician. The idea that soy is dangerous, that it's loaded with anti-nutrients, that women especially should avoid it. I want to be very direct here. The science does not support that claim. It actually contradicts it. Soy contains natural plant compounds called phytoestrogens. And the moment people hear the word estrogen, they panic, especially in the context of breast cancer, where estrogen can play a role in tumor growth. But here's what the research actually shows. Phytoestrogens from soy look nothing like human estrogens at the molecular level. They don't behave like human estrogens. In fact, they actually block human estrogens from binding to their receptors. Even more remarkable, the phytoestrogens in soy, particularly one called genistein, have been demonstrated in both laboratory and clinical studies involving actual breast cancer patients to have anti-angiogenic effects, meaning they help cut off the blood supply that feeds breast cancer tumors. The exact opposite of what the fear-based headlines would have you believe. This has been confirmed in human patients, real people, real breast cancer, real tumor biology, and tomatoes. The lycopene in tomatoes, the pigment that gives them their red color, has been extensively researched and shown to have significant anti-angiogenic activity as well. Interestingly, lycopene becomes more bioavailable when tomatoes are cooked, which means a slow-simmered marinara sauce may actually be delivering more of this protective compound than a raw tomato salad. A wonderful excuse, if you needed one, to enjoy Italian food with full scientific justification. What we are beginning to understand is that nature has been ahead of us all along. The plant kingdom has been quietly producing anti-cancer compounds for millions of years. We're just now catching up to what our food has always been capable of doing. Building your immune army, the superfoods that arm your body's defenders, blueberries, and the immune system now. I want to shift to your immune system because angiogenesis is just one of the 5 core health defense systems your body uses to protect you. Another one, and arguably the most complex, the most powerful, the most constantly active, is your immune system. Most people think of immunity as binary. Either you get sick or you don't. Either your immune system works or it doesn't. But the truth is far more nuanced and far more actionable. Your immune system operates on a spectrum, and every single day, the choices you make either push it toward peak performance or drag it toward dysfunction. Let's talk about blueberries, because I want you to really think about what's happening when you eat this small, humble, extraordinarily beautiful fruit. Blueberries are blue because they contain a natural pigment, a class of compounds called anthocyanins. And anthocyanins are not just coloring agents. They are one of the most biologically active compounds we have ever studied in the context of human immune function. Here is a specific number I want you to remember. Consuming roughly 1.5 cups of blueberries daily has been shown in research to elevate your T cell levels by approximately 88%. T cells. These are not supporting players in your immune system. These are the elite special forces. The precision killers. When your body detects a cell that has been infected by a virus or a cell that has undergone the kind of DNA damage that precedes cancer, T cells are dispatched to eliminate that threat. The more T cells you have and the more active they are, the more aggressively your body can identify and destroy threats before they ever have a chance to become a clinical problem. An 88% elevation in T cell activity from blueberries. Something you can put in your morning yogurt or blend into a smoothie. There's more. Research conducted with athletes, people whose immune systems are already under significant physical stress from intense training, found that those who consumed blueberries regularly maintained consistently higher baseline immunity. Their immune systems didn't just spike during illness and recovery, they operated at a higher set point all the time. Not as an enhancer, pushing them past their ceiling as a maintainer, keeping them at the peak of what their biology was capable of. Now, here's something that makes blueberries even more remarkable, and it addresses one of the central tensions in the world of wellness and inflammation. You have probably heard conflicting advice about inflammation. On one side, you hear that you need to boost your immune system. On the other, you hear that inflammation, which is the immune system's response mechanism, is responsible for chronic disease, accelerated aging, and all kinds of systemic damage. And people ask, How can I strengthen my immune system while also reducing inflammation? Isn't that a contradiction? The answer is no. And blueberries demonstrate why inflammation is not the same thing as immunity. Inflammation is a specific tool that the immune system uses, a powerful, necessary, sometimes life-saving tool, but one that causes serious damage when it's deployed chronically and inappropriately. What you want is a strong, well-regulated immune system that deploys inflammation precisely when needed and stands it down just as precisely when the threat is resolved. Anthocyanins from blueberries have been shown to elevate immune function, specifically T-cell and natural killer cell activity, while simultaneously reducing the kind of chronic low-grade systemic inflammation that drives aging and disease. Not by suppressing the immune system, by making it smarter, more precise, more powerful where it counts, and calmer where excessive activity causes harm. That is not a supplement. That is not a pharmaceutical. That is a handful of blueberries, broccoli, sulforaphane, and the immune amplifier. Now let's talk about broccoli. And I want to go deeper than the usual broccoli is good for you conversation, because there are specific details about this vegetable that will completely change how you prepare and eat it. Broccoli, along with kale, chard, and other cruciferous vegetables, contains a family of natural compounds called sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is responsible for the slightly bitter, distinctive flavor of these vegetables. It's a sulfur-containing compound, and it has been the subject of remarkable scientific research. Like blueberries, broccoli has been shown to significantly elevate T-cell activity. Eating broccoli regularly is one of the most direct dietary ways to strengthen the immune system's frontline defenders. But here's the detail that most people, even most nutritionally aware people, don't know. The majority of people who cook broccoli throw away the stems. They eat the florets, the little treetop clusters, and discard the thick, tough, less visually appealing stems. And in doing so, they are throwing away twice as much sulforaphane as they're keeping. The stems contain approximately double the concentration of sulforaphane compared to the florets. Double. If you've been discarding broccoli stems your whole life, you have been throwing away the most potent part of the vegetable. So what do you do with them? There are excellent options. You can finely chop or grate them and add them to stir fries. You can blend them into soups. A broccoli and oregano soup with a quality vegetable broth is genuinely delicious and nutritionally extraordinary. You can juice them. You can shave them thin and add them raw to salads. The preparation options are plentiful. The point is, don't waste them. But now, and this is where things get truly fascinating, let me tell you about broccoli sprouts. Broccoli sprouts are simply 3 to 4 day old broccoli seedlings. Tiny, delicate, almost hair-like little plants that you can grow at home in a glass jar, buy at most health food stores, or find increasingly at mainstream grocery retailers. And the sulforaphane concentration in broccoli sprouts? 100 times higher than in mature, full-grown broccoli, 100 times. To put that in perspective, a tablespoon of broccoli sprouts contains roughly the same sulforaphane as several full servings of adult broccoli. You can add them to a salad, fold them into a wrap, put them on an avocado toast, blend them into a smoothie, and you are delivering a concentrated wave of immune-activating, inflammation-regulating, cancer-defending compounds that no supplement on the market can reliably replicate. Let me share one study that illustrates how powerful this is. Researchers looked at healthy young adults, 20-year-olds in good health, who were receiving the flu vaccine. One group received the vaccine alone. The other group received the vaccine along with a shake made from broccoli sprouts. The group that consumed the broccoli sprout shake showed an immune response 22 times stronger than the vaccine-only group. 22 times, not 22%. 22 times. If that number had come from a pharmaceutical company's clinical trial data, it would be front page news and the drug would be in every hospital in the world. It came from broccoli sprouts, and you can have them for breakfast. Protecting your brain, repairing your DNA, and the philosophy of eating for power the kiwi. DNA protection in the palm of your handy. Want to spend significant time on kiwi because of all the foods I've studied and discussed over the years. It may be the most consistently underestimated. When most people think about kiwi, they think nice fruit, pretty color, good for a fruit salad. They don't think, this is protecting my genetic material and rebuilding my DNA at the cellular level. But that's exactly what the research shows. Let's start with vitamin C. Kiwi is one of the most concentrated natural sources of vitamin C available, actually containing more per gram than oranges, which most people assume are the gold standard for vitamin C content. And vitamin C isn't just an immune nutrient. One of its most critical functions is as an antioxidant, specifically a compound that neutralizes free radicals before they can cause oxidative damage to your DNA. Your DNA is your biological blueprint. Every cell in your body contains a complete copy of it, and every single day, that DNA is under assault from environmental toxins, from ultraviolet radiation, from the normal metabolic byproducts of your own cellular energy production. Free radicals are the primary weapons in this assault. They are unstable molecules that damage DNA strands, creating mutations that, over time, accumulated across decades, can drive the development of cancer, accelerate cognitive decline, and speed up the aging process at the cellular level. Here's what the science has found specifically about kiwi. Consuming 1 kiwi per day has been shown to protect DNA against oxidative damage by approximately 60%. And consuming 3 kiwis per day not only protects against further damage, it actually helps your body repair existing damage that has already occurred. Also by roughly 60%. Ride that again. Not just preventing new damage, repairing damage that is already there. This is what scientists call a DNA repair mechanism. Your body's own cellular machinery that identifies broken or distorted segments of the genetic code and rebuilds them. And a compound as simple as the vitamin C in a kiwi can amplify how effectively that machinery operates. Think about the cumulative implications of that. If you spend the next decade eating 1 to 3 kiwis a day, protecting 60% of your DNA from new damage and helping repair the damage that does occur, you are measurably changing the trajectory of how your cells age. You are quite literally slowing the genetic clock, and beyond the vitamin C, kiwi is exceptionally rich in dietary fiber. Fiber is not glamorous. Nobody gets excited about fiber the way they get excited about antioxidants or polyphenols. But fiber is perhaps the single most important nutrient for the health of your gut microbiome, the vast complex ecosystem of trillions of microorganisms living in your digestive tract. Your gut microbiome is not a passive passenger in your health. It actively regulates your immune function, your cognitive function, your mood, your metabolism, your hormonal balance, and your inflammatory levels. The health of your microbiome determines in very large part the health of everything else, and kiwi feeds it directly. Research conducted in Singapore, one of the global centers of microbiome science, demonstrated that consuming even a single kiwi can begin visibly shifting your gut microbiome composition within 24 hours, overnight. The fiber in kiwi functions as a prebiotic, meaning it selectively nourishes the beneficial bacterial species in your gut, helping them outcompete the harmful ones, creating an internal environment that supports rather than undermines your health. So in one small, delicious, inexpensive, easy-to-eat fruit, you have powerful antioxidant protection for your DNA, measurable DNA repair capacity, and direct prebiotic support for your gut microbiome, which in turn supports your brain, your immune system, and your metabolic health. Kiwi, 1 a day. Start tomorrow. The 5 Health Defense and how to activate all of them. Let me now bring everything together, because understanding individual foods is valuable, but understanding the system they operate within is transformative. Your body has 5 core health defense systems. These are not theories. These are well-established, peer-reviewed biological mechanisms that your body uses every day to protect you from disease, repair damage, and maintain the conditions necessary for a long, vibrant life. They are angiogenesis regulation, stem cell activation, microbiome health, DNA protection, and immune function. We've touched on all 5 of them today. Angiogenesis, how green tea, resveratrol, genistein in soy, lycopene in tomatoes, and dozens of other foods help your body prevent tumors from establishing a blood supply. Immune function, how blueberry anthocyanins and broccoli sulforaphane elevate and refine the T cells and natural killer cells that patrol your body for threats. DNA protection, how kiwi's vitamin C and antioxidant profile shields your genetic blueprint from damage and helps repair what's already been harmed. Microbiome health, how kiwi fiber functions as a prebiotic that reshapes your gut ecosystem within a single day. These systems are interconnected. When your microbiome is healthy, your immune function improves. When your immune function is strong, your angiogenesis regulation is better supported. When your DNA is protected, your stem cells, the body's repair and regeneration mechanism, can function function more effectively. Everything communicates, everything influences everything else, and every single day, the foods you choose either support this interconnected network or undermine it. They anti-deprivation philosophy. Eat for power, not punishment. Now, I want to talk about something that I believe is just as important as the biochemistry, and that's the psychology of how we actually change our eating habits in a way that lasts. Here is the fundamental problem with most nutritional advice, including much of what you've seen online, in magazines, and yes, even from medical professionals. It is built on a foundation of fear, guilt, and deprivation. You're told what you can't eat. You're told what you should stop doing. You're made to feel that the foods you enjoy are enemies, that pleasure and health are in opposition, and that pursuing one means sacrificing the other. And here's the thing, that approach doesn't work. Not long term, not for most people, not sustainably. Human beings are not wired to respond well to deprivation. When you tell the brain it can't have something, the brain wants it more. Restriction creates craving. Prohibition creates obsession. And the inevitable failure, the moment you eat the thing you were told not to eat, creates shame that makes the next healthy choice feel futile. So I want to offer you a completely different framework. Instead of subtracting, add. Instead of focusing on what to remove from your plate, spend your energy discovering what to put on it. Instead of thinking about what you're giving up, think about what you're gaining. Not just health gains, though those are real and significant, but the genuine pleasure of discovering that so many of the foods nature has given us are extraordinary, varied, delicious, and deeply satisfying. Think about what we've discussed today. Green tea, warm, aromatic, comforting, a ritual that billions of people around the world enjoy daily. Blueberries, sweet, bright, beautiful, perfect in yogurt, in oatmeal, in smoothies, by the handful. Broccoli prepared properly, including those nutrient-dense stems, in a warming soup with oregano and vegetable broth that genuinely satisfies. Kiwi tart, citrusy, visually stunning when you cut it open and see that starburst of green. Red wine, in moderation, civilized pleasure with genuine biological benefit. None of this is punishment. None of this is sacrifice. And here's the key insight I want to leave you with. When you spend the majority of your time filling your body with foods that actively strengthen your health defenses, your body becomes resilient, genuinely resilient, not just absence of illness resilient, actively defended, well supplied, powerfully functioning resilient. And when that foundation is in place, the occasional indulgence, the birthday cake, the restaurant meal that isn't perfectly optimized, the comfort food on a hard day, doesn't undo everything. Your health defenses are robust enough to absorb those moments and recover from them without consequence. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent with the things that matter. This is sustainable. This is enjoyable. And this is how the people who maintain exceptional health across long lifespans actually live, not through rigid, joyless compliance with restrictive rules, but through a genuine, informed, pleasure-centered relationship with food that happens to align precisely with what their biology needs. So let me give you your action list. Simple, specific, and starting tomorrow. Add green tea to your daily routine. 1 to 3 cups. Real green tea, brewed properly. Add blueberries, a cup to a cup and a half daily, fresh or frozen, however you enjoy them. Stop throwing away your broccoli stems. And if you can access broccoli sprouts, add a tablespoon or 2 to something you're already eating. Eat 1 to 3 kiwis a day. Peel them, slice them, add them to yogurt, blend them into a smoothie, whatever gets them into your body. Don't fear soy. The science is clear. The phytoestrogens in soy are not dangerous. They are protective. Cook your tomatoes. Lycopene is more bioavailable when heated. A simple tomato sauce, a roasted tomato, simple, delicious, and biologically powerful. Your body wants to be healthy. It is constantly working at every level, from the molecular to the systemic, to protect you, repair you, and keep you functioning. All it needs is the right materials. Give it those materials. Starting today, if this video has given you something valuable, a piece of information you'll carry with you, a food you'll add to your next grocery list, a new way of thinking about your relationship with what you eat, please share it with someone you love, because the people in your life deserve this knowledge too. I'm Dr. William Lee, and this is Longevity Lane. Subscribe so you never miss the health truths that most people only discover when it's already too late.